And where the plan is meant to go, and the COVID era with all the lockdowns was all part of that, is to so destroy the global economy, not for the corporations, not for your massive cult corporations, that benefited so enormously from the COVID lockdowns, but your small businesses, your medium businesses, even your bigger businesses that aren't controlled by this cult, you want rid of them because you want to stop people having an independent source of income. There is a woman in Scotland called Nicola Sturgeon who would not be the brainiest person in an empty room. So all the way through the COVID era, this dictator has told Scottish people what to do, what they can and they can't do. And the overwhelming majority of Scottish people have just bloody done it. In Wales, you have a moron called Mark Drakeford, another guy who wouldn't be the brightest man in an empty room. And he says, this is what Welsh people have to do or can't do or must do. And the great majority of them do it. We have a guy in Westminster, Boris Johnson, ruthless but a moron, who has had his policy dictated by Tweedledum and Tweedledummer, Patrick Vallance, the science advisor, and Christopher Whitty, the chief medical officer of England. And what they've said must happen, he has said the population must do. Ludicrous things, like walking up to a bloody door in a restaurant or a cafe, putting your bloody face nappy on, walking 3 strides, sit at your table and take the bloody thing off. I've watched people do this. What else? What is said you got to do? And people say, what do we do? Well, we stop doing that for a start. We stop allowing morons to tell us to do moronic things and then doing them. The power is not with Drakeford, it's not with Johnson, it's not with Sturgeon, it's not with Biden, it's not with Macron or Ardern in New Zealand, Morrison in Australia. It's with none of those people. They don't have any power. The power to enforce what they want upon the people is simply the power the people give to those people in the form of acquiescence. And these people now, I mean, we're going to have other stages of this, have no fear, but just look at it now. There's people, large numbers of people, who've had this fake vaccination, this synthetic genetic material, who didn't bloody want it, but thought, because that's what they were told, then if I'm going to keep my job and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, then I have to have it. So they've had it. Probably 2 or 3 now, with more coming. Well, 4 or 5 they want now in England, they're saying. This health security agency, which is part of the security network, including MI5, MI6, is now talking about 2 fake vaccines a year for the vulnerable. In other words, we want rid of the vulnerable. And yet, I sit here, I've not had it, and there's nothing as I sit here now that I can't do that they can do who've had it. And so what would have happened if in large numbers people would have said, I'm not having it? And if they'd have actually done some research to realize what's in this shite, and most doctors haven't done that research, by the way, that's a staggering but true, then it would not have happened. They wouldn't have had it. You know, when they said that everyone in the National Health Service was going to have the jab or they get fired? Well, the number that said, well, we'll leave then, was high enough for there to be absolute mayhem if they were fired. And so what did they do? They said, oh, well, we won't do it now. Now,
so
if that
started work, so in some cases it's worked, right? The people have taken back the power.
yeah, but if that number in the National Health Service, who said no, we're not having it anyway, had been far lower, where they could have got away with sacking them and the disruption would have been less, they would not have rolled it back. This is the point. 8 billion people can't be controlled by a comparative handful unless the 8 billion give their power away.